And it's not fantasy. It's called Shamelessly. White cane tapping. He wants to cross the street. He is blind. We are the same height. His dark eyes and my brown meet perfectly. I stare into his eyes and scan his body shamelessly. Can I help you walk across the street? I ask. He answers with a happy yes. His arm through mine is warm and strong. The scent of freshly showered skin. Dare I kiss his open lips? I'm sure he hears my heart. We walk across Olympic Boulevard, part and never meet again. Molten sunset. I fantasize a longer story.
Very nice, very kind, and bittersweet. Okay, Jeannie, three's a charm, please.
Okay, thank you. This one's called Itai, which it means pain. It's just too much. On to another life, she said, as she pointed the gun to her head. She forgot the rule of Theravada, rebirth, but the pain was too much. It was too late. She pulled the trigger and then awakened in another body. Bright lights. She's surrounded by a circle of people in white. A white man grabbed her ankle and turned her upside down, slapped her on her bottom. It was cold and gray. Blood was everywhere. What happened to the warmth of the womb? Not ready for a new journey of life, she lay bruised, crying, and gasping for air. This is the path. No heaven above or hell below. To be or not to be, that is the question. I am not a god, the Buddha said. I am merely awake.
Whoa, applause, Mita. Wow, Jeannie, thank you. Woo. Yes, thank you
Well, I
very
wrote
much.
that during COVID and I was kind of depressed.
The COVID fatigue syndrome.
Yeah.
Jeannie, let me ask you. Uh, I am most curious and would be most happy when you are prepared to read to us in Japanese.
That'd be nice. Okay. I'm studying it now, but I'm not very good at it. I'll
Oh,
try.
well, give it a
I
try.
told you the story how I was ashamed of being Japanese, born right after the war, World War II, and I didn't want to speak it.
You
And
told us
nobody.
that story. It was very moving, Jeannie.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we'll
But I'll
talk.
try.
Yeah, you can tell us that story during the break, so that I can continue on with a rather large list. Okay.
Okay.
But because you explained it to us last week, and we'll certainly be listening to it again during the break. Okay.
No, I'm finished.
But I mean, you're fully welcome to explain it again during the break. So thank you very much, Jeannie. And now I'm going to cross continents and cross the Atlantic and bring us on back to Paris and bring on Jack Cooper. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Mo. Hello, everyone. Transitory. Blows struck like a knock repeated. An angel's horn, loud, louder approach. The heel-ticked second of my doom. Achilles stung at the arrow stays. shields such interval, haste portends. Still too minute might know begun. Far worse, nearer creature she, unseen, the soul of youth, exuberant, forth in flight with feathered hand, shoes or boots tipped through time to pierce the mind, wound down the hall. What feels its door heard close behind, go out, nor return.
Yeah, okay, Jack. How about poem number 2, please?
Yes, goodbye to all that. This is called Simulacrum. It's a Belmondo day, a morning, a bout de souffle. The girl giving away AM New York, mumbles French. Disjunct, the sun, double jointed like a thumb, traces ellipse. Bound to the earth by suspicion, uncertain whereabouts. Up to something, no doubt, lost in thought. But now the tissue of clouds, as illusion, tears, letting color there be light. Sound, deafened exposure of black and white. Every god knows, consistent, conservative in belief. Only one Paris exists, not least unique in daydream or deceit cinematic. None such other similar anything.
You really pulled my ear in when you did black to white. You be the tenor, I'll be the baritone.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, tenor, give us threes of charm, please.
Okay. This, wait, I just have to make an adjustment. All right. This is called Storm. Storm clouds gather, brew above and below on my brow. Weeks of sunshine come to an end, and I, my rope. Ah, but it's good to smell the rain before it falls. The sound of thunder speaks for a non-existent God.
Applause meter, please. Okay. Really? After slavery and Indian genocide and Auschwitz, I don't argue with this non-existent God thing.
Yeah.
Where was God when they were being slaughtered?
Mhm.
Everyone to their own beliefs. Okay, thank you, Jack, very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Thank you all.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the lineup for a minute so that I can get some balance and return to bilingual poetry and invite Huda on. Hello, Huda, who speaks three languages, Arabic from Morocco, as Huda is from Morocco, and very good French. She publishes in journals, and English. So over to you, Huda. Choose a language, please.
Hello, how are you, my friend? It's always a pleasure to be here with you. Do you want me to start with English poetry, French, or Arabic? I have to choose.
Well, how about something in Arabic, something in French, and something in English? Could we hear that?
Okay, I'll start with a poem in English from my first or second collection, I think. This is my, I have here my first, second, and last collection. I'm going to read a poem that I never dared read here in Morocco before. I never read this poem. It's called My Last Day. My last day. When I'm about to die, I'll climb the skies and touch the clouds. I'll drink the waters of all the rains. I'll breathe the breeze of days to come. I'll sing the words, I'll dance the rhymes. When I'm about to die, I'll paint the tears of all the days, and I'll turn them into pearls. When I'm about to die, I'll keep the smile. I'll seize the fight, I'll lit the light of candles and stars. When I'm about to die, I'll multiply my hopes and fly. The world will be mine. When I'm about to die, I'll fight the hate, I'll befriend the fate, I'll catch the moons, it won't be late. When I'm about to die, I'll plant the trees of love that freeze in rocks and suns. I'll grow the plants, I'll swim in rivers of love and life. I'll embrace space in all one grace. When I'm about to die, I'll free myself of all the thoughts that darken the years and make them vain. When I'm about to die, I'll dance, I'll play, I'll live, and I'll pray. It will be the day.
Wow. Okay. Yes, yes. Now, I believe I have an idea of why you didn't read this poem in Morocco. Would you care? I have been to North Africa in the Muslim world as well, the man's world. Would you care to give a brief explanation about why you haven't read this poem in Morocco?
I didn't read this poem because, you know, we have well, I befriended that long ago. I'm no more afraid of my last day. It's the opposite. Maybe it will be a relief. It will be something good. I'm sure it will be something good. But here in Morocco, since people are so much in religion and in they are so much in religion, in faith, in they assume that you don't have the right to speak about your death that way. You don't have the right to speak about the end. You just have to be optimistic and have to trust God and be happy all the time and smiling and never think about something else. But I assume, I personally assume that it's part of life. That that is part of life. It's not it's not an end. It's continuity. We just go to another space which is maybe more peaceful than this one.
Well, thank you for that explanation. And you happen to be a woman in a patriarchy religious culture among many millions of women around the world, enduring patriarchy culture in various religions. And it's good to be honest instead of patronizing and PC. Thank you very much. Would you read poem number 2, please?
Poem number 2, I have another poem. I have the rights in 3 poems. I have to read 3 poems.
Yes, you're invited to read 3 poems, and if you want to read in Arabic and French, you are welcome.
Je vais vous lire maintenant un poème en français qui est Femme rêve. Femme rêve. Woman dream.
Woman's dream.
No, it's not woman's dream. It's woman dream. Woman dream. Woman, she is herself a dream. She is herself a dream. Because you see, this is my collection in French, and my collection say in French it's Femme écrite, women, written women, and all the titles are woman hope, woman silence, woman dream, woman, you see, woman death, woman, okay, all this, the titles are made that way. Femme rêve. Il est un peu long ce poème. It's long. It's a long poem. Femme rêve. Offrir ta moitié dans un plateau de rêve et de poésie que les tons ont transcrite sur les terres, sur tes terres. Offrir ton meilleur en abondance. Permettre une visite dans les temples de ton âme, ouvrir une porte sur les perles de ton être, sur les battements de ton cœur, abandonnant ton corps, sur la finesse du mot, sur la tendresse d'une caresse, d'un regard délicieux, pétilleux, généreux, ravageur, parleur, qui dit la vie, qui l'enflamme, qui illumine tes cieux, pour accueillir chaudement cette autre moitié venue d'ailleurs. Lui donner une preuve, l'inviter à flotter, telle une petite fleur sur la surface accueillante des eaux douces de ton fleuve. Combler son manque, compléter son visible cassé qu'elle avait tant détesté, le penser, ne jamais prétendre le guérir, le laisser nourrir les vers de ses univers. Aimer son invisible, y croire, le vouloir, lui tendre la main, l'écouter, tout lui dire avec ton intensité rare, l'émerveiller, illuminer ses jours, chuchoter tout doucement des mélodies d'amour, les chanter, les danser pour mieux les lui offrir, mieux l'atteindre, mieux l'émouvoir, jusqu'à lui couper le souffle, jusqu'à vouloir couler des perles jusqu'à voir couler des perles sur ses joues crispées, que ta main adoucit des larmes d'émotion, d'amour et de partage, qu'elle préfère taire, car dépassée par ta présence si chère. Et elle quitte ta porte, elle s'en va pour mieux rester et pour mieux te transporter en elle, au bord d'un canal. Elle savait qu'elle allait te retrouver dans cette eau qui débordait de cette beauté intensément bleutée et de ces petites vagues timides qui brillaient, qui souriaient, qui recevaient délicatement le beau rêve printanier de ce soleil de midi. Vous étiez déjà un. Et dans son bonheur, elle te regardait marcher sur cette eau bénie. Tu l'invitais à s'asseoir sur le banc au bord de l'eau de votre amour. Et comme elle n'avait pas quoi lire, tu as plongé dans ces eaux qui sont devenues vos eaux et du fond, du plus profond de votre canal, tu lui as ramené un livre ou des pinceaux de l'ailleurs raffinés comme ta touche, subtile comme les reflets de tes nuances, avaient créé des œuvres impressionnamment impressionnistes, telle la littérature de ton cœur que tes yeux amoureusement rieux lui racontaient en rêve, et qu'elle a eu très peur de dire, mais que ensorcelée, elle a fini par écrire.
Bravo, Oda. Quelle déclaration de conscience féminin. Merci beaucoup, bravo.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I have a very short poem in Arabic. It's not that long in Arabic. Okay?
Okay, give us a brief explanation, please.
A brief explanation of this of the poem in French?
No, in Arabic.
In Arabic.
Just a brief explanation, the theme.
Yeah. It's once again, I'm going to speak religion, because you know, in Islam, patience is a sacred word. Is a sacred word. You have to be patient about everything. Okay, you can suffer and suffer and suffer. Just keep the smile and be patient. Now, in my poem, I'm sarcastic about patience. Okay,
All right.
I call it that wonderful patience, but I'm sarcastic. I'm not. It's not. When I wrote it, I wasn't feeling that way. When I wrote it, it was a very bad moment in my life. اليوم صبر وغدا أمر. اليوم حزن وغدا حزن. اليوم حيف ونسف وقصف وغدا صبر وصبر وصبر. فصبرا جميلا أو قبيحا أو لعينا أو متعبا أو ثقيلا أو حاميا كجمر، المهم أنه صبر. فكيفما كان لظاه، كيفما كان شظاه، هو صبر جميل. ويا لجمال محياه، يا لبلسم دواه. هو صبر، واللعنة على من الصبر أعياه. اللعنة على من الصبر أضناه. اللعنة على من لا يفقه في الصبر فتيلا، ولا يذهب للقياه حيا وقتيلا. اللعنة على من لا يلقى الصبر تبسما ألقا تجملا وكذبا جميلا. فاصبروا واكذبوا، وفي هذا فليتنافس الأشقياء الأتقياء الأغبياء، الذين لا يجدر بهم أن يبغوا لغير الصبر الجميل سبيلا. اصبروا واكذبوا، فبهذا أنتم صنفتم في أعلى درجات العلا بعد الحمير والبعير وتين البراري في الصحاري. اصبروا، فما الحيف إلا في الدنيا، ولكم في الموت ورد وحب وريحان. اصبروا واكذبوا وأبشروا فالموت جزاؤكم وهذا أوانه قد آن.
Mm. Shukran, Huda. Okay.
Merci. العفو. Merci infiniment. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Come back in the second round for 2 more poems, please. And thank you. Isn't it
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
people, I hope you find it as curious and satisfying as I do hearing other poets reading in other languages. Yeah. We talk about one world, one people, and it's so great that we don't all speak one language, you know, not all one color, one music, but a variety of different sounds and sights. Very nice.
I just
So
was
now
saying
we're
it's a great shame of the United States that we're so
uh,
chauvinistic towards our own language.
well, we're speaking a lot of Spanish now, David. A lot of
That's
with much more to
si,
come.
senor.
Okay, so now I want to cross the Mediterranean and the continent of Europe, the Atlantic Ocean, the continent of North America, all the way to San Francisco, and welcome our favorite lovable Dharma bum, David Wilson.
And there I had just muted myself. Oh, good. Am I unmuted? Yes. That's swell. I'm so happy as always to be here with you all. Let's start, as I sometimes like to do, with a cover. Here's E. E. Cummings. In just spring, when the world is mud, luscious, the little lame balloon man whistles far, and we and Eddie and Bill come running from marbles and piracies, and it's spring when the world is puddle wonderful. The queer old balloon man whistles far, and we and Betty and Isabel come dancing from hopscotch and jump rope, and it's spring, and the goat-footed balloon man whistles far, and we
You did it again, you beatnik, you. You did it again. All right, that was beat, David. Let's hear number 2, please.
Number 2, flow poem. Sunlight on a spring's day, birds singing, crows cawing, Alan plays guitar. I sit here, finally relaxed a bit. I don't really care what happens. I am seeking a picture postcard view of what's going on. But lacking that, I will settle for sitting on this patio looking up at the twisted shapes of these trees. I don't really feel like writing about what's going on, about what's important, because the important thing right now is to just forget everything and be in some Zen state where everything is seen as if for the first time. What thing is this I have caught myself in? I began half-heartedly thinking I was writing a poem. Now I am not so sure. This thing seems to be in a state of flux between poem and grocery list. With here an intriguing image, but ever there a meaningless stretch of line. But lo, the meandering bamble of a rambling journey down the corridors of my half-forgotten dream. Actually, this week, I have taken myself out of service for some much-needed repairs, and thus I shall not fear that the poem that I write be fuel for the woodman's fire. But no task ever seemed so cruel as the writing of an overgrown poem, or the writing of a poem with nightmare ranges of structure, yet here and there an image like a gem shining forth in the wreckage of that monstrosity. It is hopeless to hope to reap the benefit of every marble that ever fell into any storm drain, needles and haystacks, and every hot-blooded dream can be swallowed by guppies in summer puddles. E. Cummings was as much a poet as anyone, and sitting here is just one measure of success. There is only time to let it flow.
Yes, yes. Nice, David. Nice. Please let us hear my wonderful Dharma bomb. Let us hear Three is a Charm.
Three's a charm. To make things grow on earth. As the mist clears and the thunder roars, the rain begins to pour. So the people close their doors. They hear the hammer hit the stone and see the lightning flash. They look up above in the clouds and see the figure of Thor. And up above, see the smith who forges the lightning for Thor. But it is only to make things grow on earth. Thank you.
It's only to make things grow on earth. Well said, well put, well done, Mr. Poet.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, David.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right. There's my little list, and I'm checking it twice. Now I would like to bring on someone else who is presenting their first time on Angora Poets. And she has put out a book recently that's getting quite a lot of attention. And I'd like to introduce, please, Martina McGovern. Hello, Martina.
Hello, Mo. It's McGowan.
I'm
A
sorry.
little more Scottish.
You know, these small letters in my small eyes, I
I
apologize for that.
absolutely understand. I think I'm in the
Miss
same age
McGovern,
category.
excuse me.
That's okay. Before I do the poems, I'd like to read the epithet for the book. I think it helps give a little context. I am the American heartbreak, the rock on which freedom stumped its toe, the great mistake that Jamestown made long ago, by Langston Hughes, 1951. My first poem is Spoken Words Fail Me. Although words often seem to fail when I try to speak, the writing still comes by instinct, an instinct long buried, not safe for polite society. Breaking out of the cookie cutter mold of being a well-mannered possession, a slave to what makes others feel comfortable, I plumb the depths of a pain we are afraid to speak, and take repossession of a spirit lost in financial serfdom, temporarily casting our outward-facing selves into obsolescence, acknowledging the absolute logic of our tears and agony and outrage, showing the unseemly details, the horrific density of the lives we live. We inadvertently open a new chapter of misery and degradation, and open old unhealed wounds again. Our true spirits struggling to wriggle out of its safe place, no longer hidden from a world that wishes us gone. But take heart, we will disappear from your sight again. In a few months, this broken world will return to business as usual, and our ambiguous losses will still be lost. Our freed spirits will once again be locked in amber, awaiting release in another age of outrage.
in another age, unfortunately, in another age of outrage, isn't
which
it?
I think we're coming to right now.
One step forward, two steps back, isn't that seems the way it goes, you know?
Exactly. I'm going to read a poem, fairly new poem, still working on, that's not in the book, called Necessary.
Okay.
Our game never called for unnecessary roughness, necessary conjoined with sweetness and softness, reveling in the spice and salt of you, filling with heat, exploring, consuming every portion offered by you until we can bear it longer, dissolving and folded of each other together in time and out of time, tears and sleep, threatening to overtake us, mourning what we have never known, love that leaves us thirsty for more want and longing beyond rawness, beyond pain, entreating catharsis, pushing out pain so the wounds can begin to heal.
Yes, yes, yes. Applaud. Ooh, yes, yes. Snap, snap, snap on that. And now three's a charm, please, Martina McGovern.
Back to the book. This is called There Is Too Little Time. Too little time to teach our children that there is no after to this ubiquitous feeling that life is but a stream trailing from our bodies almost seen. There is too little time to spoon feed our children, giving them false hope and false hype, while trying to convince ourselves that the world can be full of wonder and fair, but they are not free to hold it. There is too little time to teach our children that the fairy-like touch can quickly turn into the bite of a policeman's club. There is too little time to teach our children to say aye to all that life has to offer and to every passing whim, knowing it will not be offered to them. There is too little time to teach our children to fight to keep their spirits free, the insignificance of hope for tomorrow, managing the lives of the apostles and the apostates alike, the sweetness of oranges, the tiny moments that make life sweet, the defiance built into their very DNA. There is too little time to allow our children to be children.
Whoa. Yes. Some applause for that, please. Yes. Martina, just for a moment, I would like to bring up something you're well aware of, and I have been talking with friends back in the States um, and online, and it just comes up over and over again what Black parents must do to prepare their young children to stay safe from arrest, brutality, and murder.
Well, we pray a lot and we grieve a lot. It's not guaranteed that any of our children, no matter our stations in life, will make it back home. And we teach our children, just like our parents and our grandparents and the parents before them, the basic rules of what should keep you safe. And one of the poems in the book, My Rearview Mirror, talks about that. I look at my seat as I think I'm about to be pulled over and think that everything looks safe and innocuous, but almost anything can be made into a crime. So you do the best you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that explanation. Dearly received. Okay. And one last thing, where can we find your book, Martina?
I can put a link in. It can be found anywhere. There's a link on my personal site. I'll put the Amazon link in the chat. But it's available
Okay.
everywhere, indie stores and that.
Okay. And the same for everyone else who has a book up. If you wish to put the link where we can find it or buy it, or if you choose, read it online, please do so. Because Angora Poets has no features because every poet is a feature. So feel free to promote your book and give us the connection online. Okay. Now, Doc Janning, who met with his son and grandson a little while ago, is back online, and he got back online in time for him to come up in the list. So please, Doc, welcome.
Thank you. This I wrote just yesterday. It's titled Faces of the Dark. Faces of the dark bell shadows and spaces into secret gardens, dreamscapes of time and echoing silence of infinite silhouettes. From rhapsodic moonlight in the tree of life They sing sibilant songs of wind and clouds and new beginnings in voices of stars. They speak softly in soaring poems of love, then fly eternally amid galaxies of joy into a multiverse of elation and ecstasy. And poem number
Yes, 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 yes. Give us wonder, give us mystery, give us magic.
poem number 2, Infinite Treasures. Spellbound by joy, patterns of passion dance midst waves of love, crashing into throes of ecstasy on shining shores of being, unveil infinite treasures of life to illumination of the heart in the forever beyond forever of magic, music, and poetry.
Well said. I think we can all agree to that. Yes, indeed. Okay,
And
Doc. Three's a
three's the charm.
charm, brother. Three's a charm.
Okay, this is Dreams of Everywhen. Through starscapes of infinity, flotsam and jetsam of time drifts amid reverberations of light in echoing silence of forever. Shadows of what never was glide through passages in eternity to reflect in the mirror of never when and refract in eons long dreams of every when. Life blooms among the detritus, plunging roots into the everywhere to thrive among silhouettes of what may yet be to become.
Mm. Yes, 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 yes. Thanks for the inspirational leap into the cosmos, Doc. Thank you
My
very
pleasure.
much. Okay. Uh, Now we're going to cross the pond again and come into Europe, into the UK, and present another poet, their first time presenting for Angora, and that would be Laura Greville. Did I say that right? Greville?
Well, in certain languages, it's Grevel
Okay, and why would it be Greville? Tell us.
because it's an archaic Northern Germanic word for badger, and that was pronounced more like Grevel.
Greville. Okay, Laura. Let's hear from you, please.
Okay, thank you. The first piece, I'm going to go back. It's inspired by something in the past, but it comes towards the future. It's called No Windshield. Me and Carrie and my bro cruising down Mopac Boulevard, 60 miles per hour, no windshield. Not too fast, Carrie. The air hurts. Goosebumps on my arms. I grit my teeth. No windshield. I fear the unknown. Something might come at us. Fast, hard, big. A bug, a bank, a planet. No windshield. Carrie's mom doesn't know how to care. Our dad doesn't know how to stay sober. Together, we look each other in the eye. Carrie, bro, me. We smile. The smile hurts. There's no windshield. This is illegal, Carrie. It is? I feel something headed for us. Fast, bloody, lethal. A job, a knife, a war.
When I heard Mopac, are we talking about Austin, Texas?
Mopac Boulevard, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. I've been known to bicycle down that crazy lane.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. On the side, on the berm. Okay, number 2, please, Laura.
Okay, this we're going to go to a more recent event, and you'll see what it is. So I lived in the country a while after I lived in Austin for 36 years in the country of Texas. This is called The Tiger is Back. City girls can do anything, my grandmother said, in the 60s into the 90s, but we moved to the country where women held babies, baked pies, trained horses, found what we thought was the past, this violent, scrubby land where Comanches and Panthers once roamed, where our neighbors stole livestock, preyed, and vilified cities. This violent, scrubby land that hosted post-Civil War a gang called the Gentlemen's Club. Terrorists who murdered for land, burned houses, sniped little boys off mules. Their leader, the Tiger, known but not caught, though the FBI intervened. The turn of one century, Blacks thrown out of jobs whites wanted, thrown out of town. The turn of the next century, and this violent, scrubby land waited, claws out. Waited, watching, to report our liberal ways, to punish us, as 16 Hispanics walked heads down into the Catholic Church, whispered, learn humility. Waited for the future to emerge as the Proud Boys, the Oath Takers, the QAnon seeped up from dried up creek bottoms, slithered out of massacred settlers' graves, raised up from used up cotton fields, hatched from spittle of tiger, from blood of tiger's prey, stood, smirked, strutted. Baseball bat in hand, coon caps on head. As snow began to fall, they formed a snowman, cinched a red tie round his neck to make America great again, scaled the Capitol walls, grabbed a flag, ran through the legislative chambers, danced, hooted, peed on Pelosi's desk, smiled for the photographer, scraped the dirt of Mills County, Texas, from their fingernails, left the trailings on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's Bible, bellowed, for Daddy and Mama, for my wild rose of pecan bayou, I ride this range, I crow. I've got you by the tip, America, against a rock, down in the dust, dust of my birth.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Does Tiger have a name, Laura?
The tiger?
Yes,
You mean the real person, or?
the real person.
I don't know the name, that no one ever told. I just had lived in that county, and it was a very strange place. And that person apparently was known to the locals, but he was called in their history, their county history book was the Tiger. And so I put, modern time, my experiences in that county, and reading that history book, and seeing this horrible time after the Civil War, through history in that county. And I had a relative who was of Comanche descent from near there, from Comanche County, Texas. Anyway, so it was all very, I tried to put it all together, and yeah. So the third poem.
Please.
This is called My Daily Mirror, and you should know that I'm in the third lockdown in England. We have pretty much been in lockdown since March 2020, and people are losing it. This is, okay, My Daily Mirror. As I walked down the street, a woman saw me filming my moving feet. She smiled sweetly. I've become wunderlich, un matto gatto, je suis fou, un loco, lost my marbles, stayed too long in the toilet talking to Hitler about the war. The lockdown looses more than clocks. For I took a walk today to see a blackbird play. No, this is not that kind of poem. No rhymes. Is it too late to start over, God? I could live in Mexico, raise fruit in Oaxaca, work in stucco or raise oregano, eat frijoles con hierba de conejo. At 60, get some new ear piercings. Fearless reds and unashamed yellows dance before me. The sky lets fall redemptive grace. My footsteps speed their pace. I said, no rhymes. Some lockdown days loose themselves from the clock of human time, the lift and the gift of it, the sift and the gist of it. I said, no rhymes. My shadow disappeared today. Did it tread beneath that tree stump? Did it slide beneath that stream top? In Texas, a winter storm has caused a state of emergency, frozen the whole, and cut power to 2.5 million. In Houston, Mattress Mac has invited people without heat to come sit on the furniture in his store until their electricity comes back on. They've given up on lockdown. Once upon a time, I was young and in San Juan. The fort stood sad upon a rock. Waves crashed. The sky was overcast. Once upon a time, I did not walk down the street, filming my feet.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was good to hear that Texas accent coming through as well. It was good. From a sane Texan. All right. Okay. So our next poet, are you there, Crystal?
I'm here.
Okay, so
Can you
are
hear me?
we here? Yes, we can. So we're ready for you to present, Crystal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mo. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I'm Crystal Letters from Jersey City, and this is my first time reading for you guys today. So, and I'm also at work, so I do apologize. I'm going to start first with Stallion. There you are, in the middle of a dozen crowded buildings. A farmer's tan caresses your skin. You cast your eyes on the people, but that's all they are to you. No emotions, no substance. You want something more. Despite the commotion, you see a glow, a woman selling flowers. Her hair hangs low and you watch her for a moment. Take it in one breath at a time. Lines form from people to people, from people to food, from people to buildings. Her flowers remain untouched and she smiled still. You approach hesitantly, like passing a letter to a classroom crush. You approach hesitantly, like an animal smelling an unfamiliar scent. She had been watching you for some time now, she says, pushing her curls behind her ear, wondering which part of her bouquet you would pick. You say nothing still and leave her with loose change. You take no flowers. You run away. You wanted to believe. You wanted to take your heart out of your chest because you were afraid that someone would hear it. And so you ran. You ran into the crowded buildings, hoping the crowds would save you still. You are a stallion. Your hooves move faster than your brain. You rush past the wild brush fire of your burning home. And there she is, at the end of a forest. Not as a person, but as something electrical you've never seen before. But she does not wish to tame you. She wants to bask in your presence because your glow resembles hers. Love is terrifying. Love is thrilling. The flowers are still. Do you think of her? Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Crystal. Good to hear you. So may we hear poem number 2, please?
Absolutely. Next, I'm going to read Death. I wrote this in the midst of really bad depression at the start of COVID-19. And this is based off of the Rider Waite Tarot deck. So this is card number 13, Death. He comes to me high atop his horse, scythe in hand, and invites me for a ride. We travel across barren land and some land filled with life. He tells me of the hands of time. He shows me the winters and the springs that watch over nature's land. Each step we take brings death along its path. It's only so we can again and start anew. I feel the chills from his bones. He turns to me to make sure that I understand that I may never turn back from the journey that I embark on. Life is your gift, my child. To feel the warmth of flesh and the flow of blood through my veins again. The idea makes me rather sick. We walked across sand and watched stormy seas, lightning overtaking ships with cabin fire. He showed me fire pits, mass graves that weren't enough to fill the cages with all the sadness of the world. He showed me tears of joy and children coming to light and finding their way after having lost their lives just seconds before. He told me that I had much to learn, but would one day have the power to remind myself of who I once was. And he blessed me with his protection, and he sealed it with his bones.
All right. Okay. Yeah. And I totally agree with you. I really appreciate when I can write my way in depression and through depression. I think every writer knows this experience. Okay. So three's a charm, Crystal, please.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, Mo. Number 3, this was inspired by the transitory piece that Jack Cooper read in the beginning. I wasn't going to read this at first, but I decided to. So this is Athena. The spear left her hands as it flew across the sky. Swift lightning lifted from within her palms. Sparks bounced along concrete. She stood firm in her stance after shaking down a dark soul. Heavy and breathy, her heart raced. The point of her spear emitted light as it pierced the demon's breast. She shut her eyes of steel and gray, and in her silence, she recollected, reminiscing moments prior to success, planted like Nike, victorious. Her chest lifted, collarbones sturdy, shoulders raised. Athena wore the sash of Aegeus, flush against her flesh. The serpent queen's severed head embellished the gold surface. Carved scales shimmered. She'd soon returned to her temple and throne, fending demons and darkness had kept her from home.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Crystal. And thank you for mentioning Athena. Her statue stands tall on the Acropolis in front of the Parthenon as the goddess protectress of Athens. Yes, with spear and shield in hand. Thank you. Okay, folks, I'm the last poet, and I'm going to read 2 poems. And the first poem I didn't expect to read, but after hearing Laura, I want to read a poem that I wrote when I was down in Austin, Texas, visiting a publisher and running around the Mopec Highway on a bicycle, almost getting killed on the boulevard and all that. So here it goes. It's called Blue Bonnet Girl. And blue bonnet is one of the state flowers of Texas. The sun comes up, I'm lying down, alone in bed, the only sound, your lazy laughter bouncing round my head and last night parting. I must have dropped a funny line, I'm good for a joke most any time. I hide my shyness in my eyes, now honey, that's no joking matter. Was trying to fool you so you wouldn't see a lonely drifter. Nah, not me. I'm good time Charlie, down with the plan. Wrap your soft self round this hard shell man. I know you told me just one dance, two-time dizzy round the party hall, and had us a coffee on Sunday noon. I talked too much, you left too soon. I'll take you out in your hometown. You make me out the best you can. We'll step on guitar chords, a fretless bass, fretful times, and a world gone mad. Cowboys and cowgirls and hip city pips, and you from the pine woods. I'm brick alley slick. To meet up in Austin, a dream I got tossed in. I'll be your main man. You be my miss. All the world's getting bigger as we hold on close. You're poet, you're singer. I'll jump through the ropes for a little bitty smile from your pretty pink lips. Bluebonnet girl, my brown-eyed miss. I called to ask if maybe we could walk the river, sing to songbirds, soft stones, hard wood. I'd favor you blossoms, turn inward to say what I could not speak aloud. Maybe it's Texas, the music, the crowd, motorcycles and cowboys, come forward, come proud. Summon the word, the verb from a cloud. So happy simply to meet you that I took you out for a night on the town, shared a cold beer at Joe's, smoked a J in the sand, waved as you drove off, dumbstruck alone. I sang me a love song as I rambled home. My suitcases sang, not a suit in the bag. We were good together. I'd like to brag. So tall and so steady, with you at my side. In soon time, you won't remember. Cowboys and cowgirls and hip city pips, you from the pine woods, I'm brick alley slick. To meet up in Austin, a dream I got lost in. I'd be your main man, you'd be my main miss. Oh, the world's getting bigger as we hold on close. You're a poet, you're a singer. I'll jump through the ropes for a little bitty smile from your pretty pink lips. Bluebonnet girl, my pretty little miss. Thank you. So, okay. That's been performed both as a country piece, which I'm not country. I'm Brick Alley Slick, East Coast guy. Um, but it's also performed as a jazz piano composition. Uh, yeah, okay. So here's the second poem I'm going to read, and it'll be the final poem I read. I don't need three. And I'm going to read this as I read it last night at Brownstone Poets. And it's called The Wake. And it goes like this. Did you grip the metal, grit your teeth, roll your eyes, raise the pistol, put down the pain, aim point blank, bullet to the brain? Wait, did you think of me before the squeeze, sigh of relief, one last laugh as you let it rip? Joe has died, and with him goes a part of me where brilliant light flickers and fades into cosmic entropy. My main man's gone, committed suicide. Joe had what so many want, very few possess, was with Joe while he was here with us. Now, see, Joe had a gifted talk, a funky walk, his stride with pride, style, and flair, all his own, that goddamn beautiful Joe. And oh, for the life of me, as cute and bad as I could be, most I could do was shadow dance when that man took the floor. He, the daring North Side prince, and I, the East End Cinderella fella. It was a ball. Often we danced with the ladies, moving in circles, shoulder to shoulder, side to side. We were so loose, we were so tight. Caring, sharing, drinking, and swearing to our friends and our fathers alike. Now look here, folks. Moe and Joey wish to inform you We are taking a pause for the cause. And you come and tell me my main man's gone, committed suicide. Joe has died. Hear me, I cry. Now hear me. I have missed a rare moment, one I repressed. Just once leaning into your pile driving arms against that hammer in your chest. Making our getaway, up we went over the wall from dead end streets and deadbeat deeds, the slums and their sums of long gone dreams, cloaked in a cloud of factory smoke. Gone with him, that gifted talk, that funky walk. This year I'm canceling Christmas and the 4th of July. My main man's gone, committed suicide. Alone with memories that prance about the room, they fall on me like fly ash, like hot rivets, north side, sweaty, salty, blood-stained, steel-toed, wet-drenched. I can still smell you. Here's the Joe, you marvelous son of a bitch. We had plans, man, but you took it on the chin. You took it hard, son. Who knows? It could have been me. It could have been different. We should have vacationed. Two mates at anchor in a noonday sun. The condor soars. The earth stands still. Trouble behind. Now you be the wind, and I'll be the kite. Okay. Thank you. Dedicated to Joe Muick. May he rest in peace. Okay, everybody, that's the end of round one, and we'll come back in a few minutes and resume round two, and everyone is invited to read 2 poems, please. Okay, so let me